woo for the former president. This whole campaign is truly based on.
Uh-oh. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It's another Friday. And we are here again. It's another morning for us to meet, gather, and read. And for those of you who are new here, I want to say a very, very special welcome to you. Thank you so much for stopping by. I see that people have been coming back and watching or listening to the reading, and I sincerely appreciate you. And to all my returning travelers, I want to say thank you for your continued support. Now, for those of you who haven't been followers, we have been on this quest to read the Bible in its entirety. We are not endorsing any particular denomination or any particular religion. We are reading the Bible for ourselves. That's what we are doing, reading it for ourselves and understanding it on our own rather than being told what is in the Bible. Because if you don't know in the Bible, the information that's in the Bible has influenced every single aspect of our lives, whether we want to believe it or not. So that is why I have decided that while I try to read it for myself, I will share it with you all. All right. So good morning again, everybody. This morning we are on the book of 2Kings. Yesterday we read 2Kings up to chapter 13, and some of the information we found in that reading yesterday included we saw the death of Jezebel and how Jezebel had died. She had been avenged by the powers that be for what she had done to Naboth. Remember, Naboth was the man who had that field, who her husband asked to sell him the field, and when Naboth refused because it was his inheritance, Jezebel came up with a plan that eventually had Naboth stoned to death, and so her husband could acquire Naboth's field. And that was short-lived because Naboth was because her husband Ahab was subsequently killed. So they killed Naboth to get Naboth's field, but they couldn't even, the powers that be wouldn't even allow them to hold on to the field. Ahab was killed shortly thereafter, and Jezebel lived with that for as long as she lived, until she was shoved out the window to Jehu, who ran over her and then left her for the dogs to eat her. That was one piece of her revenge right there. And and we see also, yesterday we read where the Lord sort of praised Jehu for having done what, according to the Bible, it says was in the Lord's heart to do. And one of those things was to get rid of the people who were serving the false gods. Remember, Jehu was the one who had created this trick. He was the one who had made up this trick against all the people who were serving Baal rather than serving the quote unquote true and living God. And he was the one who had invited all the people who were serving Baal to come into the temple, and he had ordered his men to slaughter them all. And for that, Jehu was praised by the true and living God, if we should believe the Bible. He was praised for having done that. So anyway, the Bible continues to be mysterious. It continues to alarm us periodically, and so we are going to continue to read it. I'm sure we will find lots more interesting information in the Bible. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, come along with us. Come along with us. Come along with us every morning. Hmm? Okay, guys. So come along with us. Get your book Bible or your Google Bible and come along with us and let us read together. I'm looking over in the chat and I see Cuddy is here. Cuddy is here. Cuddy, I put your things. Hold on there. Oh. Okay. Cuddy has. Oh. Oh. Cuddy have other people on our playlist. Me not give them the people that my watch hours. No, sir. God, put your playlist with your stuff. Put a playlist with your content. I mean, I play them people there. Because you're not going to get the hours and them are going to get it. So, that not going to work. P in the place. P, what's up? I am here. I am here. Monea is here. How are you doing, Monea? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let me see what Monea. Let me see here. Because I ran you, so I think everything, all of your playlist is done. Let's see. Okay. This mukbang. Yeah. That is watched already. And hold on, that's all. Is this all that is? Hold on there. Hold on, Monea is in the house, and as always, I give watch hours to the three first content creators who comes into my live. Here is Monea. I don't know what this vlog spring. It's not red, so that means I haven't watched it. It hasn't been run yet. All right, so let that go. God says, good morning, lovely people. As you come in, please remember to hit that like button. Thank you so much, God, for reminding them, because I have been sitting here, I've been live with them, and my golly, when I turn back and look, the people them not hit the like button, them just come sit down here, so, and come listen to me, and then them not hit the like button, and them just shake their tail and gone. Just shake their tail and gone. Ain't that something? But anywho, we are going to continue no matter what. We are not going to stop. We are going to continue our reading, and let's hope that they continue to come and at least come and watch. Okay, let us come. Kuya, can you text me yesterday? Kuya, then now I didn't see that. My bad. So come on, guys, get your book Bible or your Google Bible, and let's go to 2 Kings chapter 14. That's where we are going to be starting the reading for today. Okay? Let's move on. Chapter 14 of 2 Kings. In the second year of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, reigned Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah. Remember yesterday we were wondering whether there was two Joash. I was looking yesterday, but I could not confirm whether or not it was. But here in chapter 14 it says, in the second year of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, reigned Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah. That sounds like two Joashes, right? And the names are spelled the same. So we will figure that out later on. I'm just putting a marking right there. He was 25 years old when he began to reign. That is Amaziah. That they are talking about. Okay, they are talking about Amaziah. Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned for 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoadan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, yet not like David, his father. He did according to all things as Joash, his father, did. Okay, so he didn't do everything as his great grandfather. David would have been in the line of his fathers way back, but he's from the line of David. So when they say David is father, they don't mean his immediate father. It means that his ancestral father, then, so to speak. You know. So let us continue. Verse 3 again, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, yet not like David his father. He did according to all things as Joash his father did. Howbeit the high places were not taken away. As yet the people did sacrifice and burnt incense on the high places. And it came to pass, as soon as the kingdom was confirmed in his hand, that he slew his servants which had slain the king his father. Oh. Okay. Oh my gosh. Wait, I'm looking at something here. I'm looking at chapter 13 and verse 13, where it says, and Joash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam sat upon his throne, and Joash was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. Now Elijah was sick of his sickness whereof he died. And Joash the king of Israel came down unto him and wept over his face. So what it seems to me here is that there was one Joash and he had a son Joash. The Bible told me to wait and see. It's going to be all explained in the book of the Chronicles, but I'm a little anxious. All right, let us continue. Let us continue with chapter 14. Chapter 14 and verse 6. But the children of the murderers he slew not, according unto that which is written in the book of the law of Moses, wherein the Lord commanded, saying, the fathers shall not be put to death for the children, nor the children be put to death for the fathers, but every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Okay? So here, Amaziah is slaying the people who slew his father, the servants who had conspired against his father. He is slaying them, but he is leaving their children alive, because Moses had a law that said, every man shall stand, every tub shall sit on their own bottom. Essentially, it says every man shall face his own judgment. So don't punish the children for the sins of the parents. rather punish the parents for their own sins and punish the children for their own sins. So with that in mind, Amaziah refused to punish the children of the men who had plotted and murdered his father. Verse 7. He slew of Edom in the valley of Salt 10,000, and took Selah by war, and called the name of it Joktheel unto this day. Then Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, the son of Jehoahaz, the son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, Come, let us look one another in the face. And Jehoash, the king of Israel, sent to Amaziah, king of Judah, saying, The thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, Give thy daughter to my son to wife. And they passed by a wild beast that was in Lebanon, and trod down the thistle. Thou hast indeed smitten Edom, and thy heart hath lifted thee up. Glory of this, and tarry at home. For why shouldest thou meddle to thy hurt, that thou shouldst fall, even thou and Judah with thee? So Amaziah is he extending an olive branch to Jehoash? But Jehoash is saying, why are you doing this? It's to your own detriment, and possibly to the detriment of Judah. Is that what you really want? You really want me to be your friend? I don't think I'm going to be a good friend to you. I don't think so. Jojo, good morning, Trevor. You should not have to be begging them to hit the thumbs up button. I would like to know how much Joseph that is. Ask them for me, Joseph. Hit the little like button. Them are going like me. I feel beg them. Me not beg them. Cause me no beg. Me no beg. Me asking them kindly, and them still not doing it. I beg them want me to beg them. Me not beg them. Verse 11. But Amaziah would not hear. Therefore, Jehoash, king of Israel, went up, and he and Amaziah, king of Judah, looked one another in the face at Beth Shemesh, which belonged to Judah. And Judah was put to the worst before Israel, and they fled every man to their tents. And Jehoash, king of Israel, took Amaziah, king of Judah, the son of Jehoash, the son of Ahaziah. So Ahaziah was Amaziah's grandfather. At Beth Shemesh, and came to Jerusalem, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem from the gate of Ephraim unto the corner gate, 400 cubits. Why would he do that? Let's read that again, verse 13. And Jehoash, king of Israel, verse 13, chapter 14, verse 13. And Jehoash, king of Israel, took Amaziah, king of Judah, the son of Jehoash, the son of Ahaziah, at Beth Shemesh, and came to Jerusalem, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem from the gate of Ephraim unto the corner gate, 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and silver. Wow. And he took all the gold and silver, and all the vessels that were found in the house of the Lord, and in the treasures of the king's house, and hostages, and returned to Samaria. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoash which he did, and his might, and how he fought with Amaziah king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles? You see what I told you? The Bible constantly tells me to wait until I get to the book of the Chronicles. And Jehoash slept with his fathers. He keep telling me, wait, Trev, wait. He keep telling me, wait until you get to the book of the Chronicles. That's where all the juice is gonna be. Just wait, not just be patient. So let me be patient. Let me exercise some patience and wait until I get to the book of the Chronicles. There I'm gonna hear about Jehoash, Azariah, more about Solomon, Jehu. Oh yeah. Okay, gentle people, here I come again. Hmm? Mm. Okay. Okay, let us continue. Let us continue. Verse 15. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoash, which he did, and his might, and how he fought with Amaziah king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoash slept with his fathers. So Jehoash died and was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. And Jeroboam, his son, reigned in his stead. And Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, lived after the death of Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, 15 years. Verse 18. And the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the Chronicles? Okay, so I got to get to the Chronicles to get there. All right. Brother David is in the house. Good morning to you, my love. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And Brother David comes in, and let me put this one on. Servant David gets Servant David, watch our Servant David. There we go. Okay. Servant David gets playlist. Okay. There we go. Playlist. Okay, there we go. I know I've watched this already. I see a thumbs up sign once so I know I'd watched it before, but there we go. All right, so Servant David gets one. Monea is on another. All right, we will see if we get any other content creators up in the place to get some watch hours. All right, let us move right along. How is your Friday going, Servant David? I hope it's all good. Trev, it is said that you shouldn't play monetized people on, as the ads would be running also. What? What? Say what? I'm not on other people's live. No, I'm not on somebody else's live. I'm on there. I give them watch hours. It has always worked, Manea. I've been doing this and I've never had a problem. So unless there is something new, tell me. I'd love to hear. So anywho, yeah. Winsome, you know how long me I look for you. Winsome, why you can't just say good morning, Trev, how you doing? Good morning, Sister Winsome, how you doing? Winsome, don't worry yourself. Don't worry yourself, Sister Winsome. How you doing? I hope you're having a great Friday morning. It's always a pleasure to see you. Yeah. Yeah, so when ads run, they're your ads. You'll get paid, it don't matter. Yeah, when your ads run, you get the little chopans. The little chopans. Oh my god, yeah, the little chopans run. The little chopans. Okay, we are on one more. AG, what's up? AG is in the place. AG, how you doing? How are you doing, AG? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, AG. Where are you at now? Stay safe. Stay safe wherever you're at. All right, this is the third one. AG. Let me see what AG up to. AG. Oh, AG. Born Jamaican. Money say I went to a church. You're gonna AG's Servant David says he's going to his live now. All right, no problem, my brother. No problem. If you're still on when we get off of here, I'll stop by and say hi. I don't know what his AG stand for. You'd have to ask him, money. You keep Bible study. Amigo. What? Amigo learned food yesterday. I never send your number. How are you, Winsome, man? Winsome. Me not see you text me, Winsome. Me not see you text me. Why you never text me? What kind of fire this year burned 4 days ago, AG? As you celebrate birthday. Okay. Okay, let me see this now. Hold on, let me put on your playlist so my 3 devices are maxed out. Trucker Chronicles. Let me see if more Trucker Chronicles yet. No, I'm gonna run Trucker Chronicles yet. All right. There you are, AG. There you are, Monea. And there you are, Servant David. All right, so let us continue the reading. Sister Winsome, you need to text me. Text me. Oh, Food Lion. I never say. Joe, Winsome, you need to talk to me off the air. Off the air. You need to talk to me. Hold on there. Who send me something right now? Hold on the people. Me just get one text and it look like it's important. Hold on the gent. Hold on the All right, gentle people, we are back. We are back. I did and live 2 times. Me tell you, send your number. Remember, I leave my phone. I don't have your number. But Winsome, may I have to go, may I have to go resolve the issues after the live. We have to go resolve the issues after the live. Why is Winsome disrupting the Bible reading? All right, Winsome, we are gonna talk off the live. We're not gonna talk in between here. All right, my daughter gone to school now, so let us continue. Verse 18 of chapter 14 of the book of 2 Kings. And the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles? Now they made a conspiracy against him in Israel. Oh my God, another conspiracy. Remember, they made a conspiracy against his father. Now they make a conspiracy against him. And he fled to Lachish. But they sent after him to Lachish and slew him there. OMG. And they brought him on horses, and he was buried at Jerusalem with his fathers in the city of David. And all the people of Judah took Azariah, which was 16 years old, and made him king instead of his father Amaziah. He built Elath and restored it to Judah. After that, the king slept with his father. So how long did he live? In the 15th year of Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria and reigned 41 years. God says conspiracy seem like, exactly, it's always the people in the house, always the servants plotting and planning an assassination of the king. In the 15th year of Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria and reigned for 41 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. He restored the coast of Israel from the entering of Hamath unto the sea of the plain, according to the word of the Lord God of Israel, which he spake by the hand of his servant Jonah, the son of Amittai, the prophet, which was of Gath-hepher. For the Lord saw the affliction of Israel, that it was very bitter. For there was not any shut up, nor any left, nor any helper for Israel. And the Lord said not that he would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he saved them by the hand of Jeroboam, the son of Joash. So there was a Jeroboam, the son of Joash, and then there was a Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Did you hear 2 Jeroboams there? Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. That was the Jeroboam that divided the city initially when he was fighting with Rehoboam, who was Solomon's son. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Remember, Rehoboam was Solomon's son, and Jeroboam was the one who first caused the division of the city of David, the city of Judah. Let us continue. Verse 27, and the Lord said not that he would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he saved them by the hand of Jeroboam, the son of Joash. Hold on, let me look for something here. So there was, okay, so in fact, there were two Jeroboams. Yes, one was the son of Joash. One was the son of Joash, meaning his great-grandmother was Athaliah, and the other one was the son of Nebat. Okay? Joe, what's up? Joe, see you not see me. Happy when some say happy Saturday. Man, G's here, me not see her. Where she there? When some call out people, I me not see them. What do win some, Jesus? Verse 28. Now the rest of the acts of Jeroboam and all that he did, and his might, how he warred, and how he recovered Damascus and Amath, which belonged to Judah, for Israel, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles? And Jeroboam slept with his fathers, even with the kings of Israel, and Zechariah, his son, reigned in his stead. We are moving on to chapter 15. Guys, I hope you are following along in your book Bible or your Google Bible as we read from the book of 2Kings. We're on to 2Kings chapter 15. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, to reign. Okay, so Azariah was appointed king after Amaziah was killed. Remember in the previous chapter, in chapter 14, Amaziah was conspired against and he was murdered. And so his son, Azariah, was appointed king. Winsome, what kind of Saturday you're talking about? You okay? Chapter 15. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, to reign. 16 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. He reigned 52 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jecoliah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah had done, save that the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still on the high places. And the Lord smote the king, so that he was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house. And Jotham, the king's son, was over the house, judging the people of the land. Oh, wow. So, this is interesting. So, Azariah, who had been appointed king after his father Amaziah was murdered. So the Bible says he did everything right except remove the high places. So he didn't remove the places where the people sacrificed and burnt incense. And for that, because he didn't do that, he was afflicted with leprosy. That was his curse. Wow. Let's read that again. Verse 3. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and that he they are talking about is Azariah, who is the son of Amaziah. He has now taken over. at the age of 16. He took over the rule of Jerusalem after his father's death. And now it says that he did everything that was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah had done. The only thing he didn't do right, the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt. The people were still sacrificing and burning incense on the high places. And the Lord smote him so that he was a leper until the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house. And Jotham, the king's son, was over the house, judging the people of the land. And the rest of the acts of Azariah, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles? Oh my Lord. I can't wait to start reading the Chronicles, God, because it seems to have just about all the stories that that First and Second Kings have left half told. So Azariah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David. And Jotham, his son, reigned in his stead. In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, did Zechariah, the son of Jeroboam, reign over Israel in Samaria for 6 months. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, as his fathers had done. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. Verse 10. And Shallum, the son of Jabesh, conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. Who was Jabesh? Oh, they just suddenly come up with that name so in front of me. Let's read that again. And Shallum, the son of Jabesh, conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. How come Shallum? Where did Shallum come from? Just so. I don't know. Where did this Shallum just come from? So this Shallum slew Zechariah. Let me write this down. Verse 11. And the rest of the acts. What is this? Hold on, the people. Let me see what this them asks me. Like, are you serious? This people, like, are you serious? I'm reading my Bible, so I'm not going to answer. But let us continue. The Bible is making careful note of all the generations that followed after Jeroboam's sins. Exactly. Exactly. Let us continue. It is making careful note because remember, the Bible had said that Jeroboam had caused Israel to sin, and his entire generation after him are going to pay the price. But I found that God, I have found that to be quite questionable. Why I say that? Didn't we just read where they said, according to Moses' law, every man will be punished on his own, and they will not punish the children for the sins of the fathers. So why now are all of Jeroboam's descendants being punished for Jeroboam's sins? Why is that? When in the same breath they are saying that according to Moses' law, it is not right to punish the children for the sins of the father. But they are doing the same thing here with Jeroboam. So what's up with that? I know you might find out, or you might know. Let me know. Because to me that is very contradicting. But let us continue. Verse 11, and the rest of the acts of Zechariah, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles. This was the word of the Lord which he spake unto Jehu, saying, thy sons shall sit on the throne of Israel unto the 4th generation. And so it came to pass. Shallum, the son of Jabesh, began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Judah, and he reigned a full month in Samaria. For Menahem, the son of Gadi, went up from Tirzah and came to Samaria and smote Shallum, the son of Jabesh, in Samaria, and slew him and reigned in his stead. So where these people are coming from? I need to know who these people are. What is their claim on Israel? Why are they just coming out of nowhere and smiting the reigning king and then ruling? The Bible is making careful note of all the generation that, okay, I got that already. And the rest of the acts of Shallum and his conspiracy which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles. But it said Shallum reigned for just 1 month. How much wickedness could he have done in just 1 month? Verse 13 said, Shallum, the son of Jabesh, began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah, the king of Judah, and he reigned a full month in Samaria. And Menahem, the son of Gadi, went up from Tirzah and slew him. But we will wait till we get to the book of Chronicles and hear what sins did Shallum commit in that 1 month that he was ruling. Verse 16, and Menahem smote Tifsah and all that were therein, and the coast thereof from Tirzah, because they opened not to him. So the people didn't accept Menahem as their ruler, as their king. So him just go out and just slaughter them all. Therefore he smote it, and all the women therein that were with child he ripped up. Good Lord Jesus. In the 39th year of Azariah, king of Judah, but wasn't Azariah dead by then? Okay, in the 39th year of Azariah, king of Judah, began Menahem, the son of Gadi, to reign over Israel, and reigned 10 years in Samaria. He reigned 10 years because he took out all of the opposition. He slaughtered everybody because the people didn't agree that he should be the king. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land, and Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver. So here is another king rise up, this king named Pul from Assyria. he came up against Menahem, and Menahem gave him 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him. So he sort of bribed him. He sort of bribed him to leave him alone. Let me rule. Just take this money. Just take this money and leave me alone. Let me continue. Let me continue to reign. Don't come up here putting up an opposition. That was the bribe, a talent of silver. That was the bribe that Menahem gave to pull, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Menahem exacted the money of Israel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and stayed not there in the land. And the rest of the acts of Menahem and all the wickedness that he did are written in the book of the Chronicles. Netta's Nest, how are you doing? So good to see you, Netta. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a good Friday so far. Let's move on. Verse 21. And the rest of the acts of Menahem and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles? And Menahem slept with his fathers, and Pekahiah his son, reigned in his stead. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Judah. Did Azariah reign for 52 years? Hold on. I thought Azariah reigned for 52 years. Let's continue. Let me see again. Let me go check again, guys. Let's check together. Chapter 15. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, to reign. 16 years old was he when he began to reign. And he reigned for 52 years. Yes, I know, I remember that right. Azariah reigned for 52 years. So here in verse 23, it said, in the 50th year of Azariah's reign, Pekahiah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel in Samaria, and he reigned for 2 years. So while Azariah was reigning in Bethlehem, in Jerusalem, you know, there were lots of kingdoms coming up around. There was Israel in Samaria, Israel in Damascus, Israel around. There were the kingdom was divided. So there were lots of other kings coming up. So all these kings they're talking about, Menahem and Pekahiah, they came up during the time when Azariah was ruling Jerusalem. Let us continue. Verse 23. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel in Samaria, and he reigned for 2 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. But Pekah, the son of Ramaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him, and smote him in Samaria, O Lord, in the palace of the king's house. And Argob, with Argob and Array, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites, and he killed him and reigned in his room. So I mean, the kingdom is not continuously being passed on to the heir of the throne. There are these random people who are coming up and slaying the king and then just appointing themselves. So the kingdom is really disrupted. The kingdom of Israel is really disrupted because you see how much they prize. You see how much they really prize handing down the kingdom to their sons. But here are these strangers who are just popping up. They are just popping up. They're just power-hungry people who are just popping up, slaying the king and reigning. So the entire kingdom that David had bequeathed to Solomon, and Solomon to his son as Ahaziah, and so it's now really disrupted. Because these people who are coming in, they are not living by the rules and the laws of David. They are just basically coming in for the power and doing their own thing. God said it's not being passed down to the descendants of David at this time. Exactly. It's not being passed down to the descendants of David. So the house is sort of corrupted. It's corrupted because these people are not aligned with the teachings of David. And because they are not in alignment with the teachings of David, they are just coming and doing their own thing. They don't have any loyalty to the throne. So its reputation has just basically gone to the dogs. But we will continue. We're going to read verse 23 again. In the 5th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned for 2 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. But Pekah, the son of Remaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria, in the palace of the king's house, with Argob and Arieh, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites, and he killed him and reigned in his room. And the rest of the acts of Pekah and all that he did are written in the Chronicles. In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned 20 years. So I guess Azariah died. Azariah died while Pekah was ruling in Samaria. Because remember, Azariah ruled for 52 years. So if in his 52nd year, Pekah became king in Samaria, then that would mean that when Azariah died, Pekah was king in Samaria. In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned for 20 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, and depart not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. In the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria. Now, there was a king of Assyria who had come up earlier. What was his name again? Pul? Pul was his name. So remember Pul, the king of Assyria, he had come up to Samaria wanting to fight Menahem for the throne. But Menahem bribed him, paid him off with 1,000 shekels of silver to make him leave him alone. So he had left Menahem alone. Now here is another Assyria king, another king from Assyria coming up. Let's read it. Verse 29. In the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and took Ijon and Abel Beth Makar, and Jonaho, and Kadesh, and Azor, and Gilead, and Galilee, all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria. So this king of Assyria, he came up, he captured all these lands that belonged to Israel. He captured all these lands and took the people captive. So now that he has taken them captive, we're gonna see, because we have as we have been reading, we see when these strangers come in and they capture the lands with the people, they institute their own policies, their own laws, their own gods, and the people start worshiping these gods because of the new laws that have been enacted in the land based on the person who owns the land at that time, who lay claim to the land at that time. And verse 30 says, and Hoshea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him and reigned in his stead. So here is another person, Hoshea, son of Elah. Not sure who those are, but he has come in and he has slain Pekah, who is ruling Samaria at the time, and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. And the rest of the acts of Pekah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles? In the 2nd year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, began Jotham, the son of Uzziah, to king of Judah, to reign. All right, so up there in Judah, Jotham is now reigning up there in Judah. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned for 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. Howbeit, the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still in the high places. He built the higher gate of the house of the Lord. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham and all that he did are written in the Chronicles. In those days, the Lord began to send against Judah Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah. And Jotham slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. So up there in Judah, in Jerusalem, the line of David seems to be continuing. But round about him, all the other kingdoms that have sprung up round about him, they are just random people. So after Jeroboam had made Israel to sin, all these people who have been coming up and power grabbing, they are committing the same sins as Jeroboam. Because you notice that with each of them, the Bible says, and they sinned. They did not move away from the ways of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, because he was the one who made Israel to sin. Because remember that he was the one who first caused the division. Because remember, as we had read in, I believe, 1 Kings, where Solomon had banished him and he had gone down to Egypt. But he came back and he divided. He came back and he started his whole movement. And the people went and followed him and reduced the supporters of the throne of David significantly, because most of the people went and followed him. I think only 7,000, if I remember correctly. I think he reduced Israel so badly that only 7,000 people left in Jerusalem, serving, being loyal to David's throne, to the throne of David, that was inherited by Solomon. He divided the kingdom significantly, and because of that division that he caused, and then caused the people to start serving false gods, he was basically cursed. And so everybody was come after him, reigning outside of Jerusalem. It's still Israel, but they're reigning in Samaria and the surrounding areas. They are doing like he did. They are being just as wicked. Verse 33. 25 years was he when he began to reign. That was Jotham. This he they're talking about is Jotham. And he reigned for 16 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. Howbeit the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burned incense still in the high places. He built the higher gate of the house of the Lord. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham are found in the Chronicles. In those days the Lord began to send against Judah Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah. And Jotham slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David his father, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. Let's move on to chapter 16. Okay, Monea, no problem, my love. No problem. No problem. Oh, yeah, there are 4 other streams. That's how we got to stretch ourselves so that we accommodate everybody as much as we can. We are on to chapter 16. In the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. 20 years old was Ahaz when he began to reign, and he reigned for 16 years in Jerusalem, and did not that which was right in the sight of the Lord his God, like David his father. Okay, so Jotham is not doing like David did, but he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, yea, and made his son to pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel. Made his son to pass through the fire? Or which fire was that, God? Which fire was that? He made his son to pass through the fire, according to the abomination of the Lord. And he sacrificed and burned incenses in the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. So Jotham is doing all the things that he's not supposed to do. Verse 5. Then Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. Mm. Mm. At that time, Rezin, king of Syria, recovered Elath to Syria. So remember, Elath, boy, your brain have to good to remember all of them something, you know. Remember, Elath, wasn't Elath taken? Let me see here. That's Eon. Okay. So who had taken Elath? Someone had captured it, but we will find out in the book of Chronicles, won't we? At that time, we are on to verse 6 of chapter 16 in the book of 2Kings. At that time, Rezin, king of Syria, recovered Elath to Syria and drove the Jews from Elath. Okay, so Israel was in control of Elath. So now the Syrian king has recovered it. He recaptured it and drove out the Jews. And the Syrians came to Elath and dwelt there until this day. So Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, saying, I am thy servant and thy son. Come up and save me out of the hand of the king of Syria and out of the hand of the king of Israel, which rise up against me. Okay. The son of Remaliah. Pick up this. Okay, so Ahaz was now reigning over Jerusalem. And Rezin and who else came up against him? Verse 5 said, then Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah. Rezin and Pekah went to Jerusalem to capture it and get rid of Ahaz. But they besieged him, but they could not overcome him. So what Ahaz did was he sent down to Tiglath. Remember, Tiglath was the guy over here in chapter 15. In chapter 15 and verse 29. Remember, Tiglath was that guy who came up when Pekah was king in Israel. Verse 29 in chapter 15 says, in the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and he took Ijon, Abel Beth-Makkah, Janoah, Kedesh, Azor, Gilead, and Galilee. These are all the land of Naphtali. And he took all of those. Tiglath captured all those lands out of the hands of Israel. Now over here in chapter 16 and verse 7, Ahaz sent messengers to the same Tiglath, king of Assyria, saying he should come and save him from Rezin and Pekah. Let's see what's the message that Tiglath sends back to Ahaz. And Ahaz took the silver and gold that was found in the house of the Lord and in the treasures of the king's house, and sent it as a present to the king of Assyria. So he sent it to Tiglath, so that he's bribing Tiglath for Tiglath to come and to save him. And you know Tiglath is not going to do it for free. He's going to take the money and he's going to take more of Jerusalem. Andrea is in the house. How are you doing, my love? How are you doing, Andrea? Who won the quiz yesterday? I had to make a quick move, so I missed out. Oh, Cad won the quiz yesterday. And the quiz ended prematurely because I was called upon to come fulfill my mommy duties. So I had to go. And by the time I was finished, it was It was late. I didn't bother to come back on. I just said, all right, let us wait until the morning. So here we are, Sister Andrea. Here we are. All right, let us continue. Verse 9 of chapter 16 of the book of 2 Kings. And the king of Assyria hearkened unto him, for the king of Assyria went up against Damascus, and took it, and carried the people of it captive to Kir, and he slew Rezin. So remember, Rezin and Pekah were rising up against Ahaz. Now Ahaz called to Tiglath for help. Tiglath came up. Oh my Lord, he slew Rezin. He slew Rezin, took the people of Damascus captive, take them away to the place called Kir. And King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath, king of Assyria, and saw an altar that was at Damascus. And King Ahaz sent to Urijah. I'm gonna say Urijah. Sent to Urijah the priest the fashion of the altar and the pattern of it, according to all the workmanship thereof. Okay, so here Ahaz saw this altar in Damascus. He liked the altar. He thought the workmanship on the altar looked really, really good. And so he wanted to replicate it, I believe. So he sent to Urijah the priest to tell him how the altar was. But was it a stolen altar? I don't know, but let us continue reading. We will find out. And if we don't find out here, we will find out in the book of Chronicles. And Urijah the priest built an altar, according to that which King Ahaz had sent him from Damascus. So Urijah the priest made it against King Ahaz. Made it against King Ahaz, came from what? Jesus. Sometimes the Bible's language is just so incomprehensible. Chapter 16 and verse 11. And Urijah the priest built an altar according to all that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus. So Urijah the priest made it against King Ahaz, came from Damascus. What? So Urijah the priest made it against King Ahaz, came from Damascus. Right, this is not right. Right, this is not right. So did he make the altar? Maybe he made the altar before King Ahaz returned from Damascus. That's the way I'm going to interpret it. That he built the altar just like the one that Ahaz saw in Damascus, but he completed it before Ahaz returned from Damascus. And when the king was come from Damascus, the king saw the altar. Yes, I think that's what it means, but they wrote it so poorly that you have to read it again and understand what you are reading to understand exactly what it is saying. Let me answer that question. Let me answer this. Let us continue. And Urijah the priest built an altar according to all that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus. So Urijah the priest made the altar before King Ahaz returned. And when the king was come from Damascus, the king saw the altar, and the king approached to the altar and offered on it. And he burnt his burnt offering and his meat offering, and poured his drink offering, and sprinkled the blood of his peace offerings upon the altar. And he brought also the brazen altar, the brassen altar, which was before the Lord, from the forefront of the Lord. Verse 14. We are reading verse 14. And he brought also the brassen altar, which was before the Lord, from the forefront of the house, from between the altar and the house of the Lord, and put it on the north side of the altar. And King Ahaz commanded Urijah the priest, saying, Upon the great altar burn the morning burnt offering, and the evening meat offering, and the king's burnt offering, burnt sacrifice, and his meat offering, with the burnt offering of all the people of the land, and their meat offering, and their drink offerings, and sprinkle upon it all the blood of the burnt offering, and all the blood of the sacrifice. And the brazen altar shall be for me to inquire by. Thus did Urijah the priest, according to all that King Ahaz commanded. Verse 17. And King Ahaz cut off the borders of the bases, and removed the laver from off them, and took down the sea from off the brazen oxen that were under it, and put it upon a pavement of stones. And the covert of the Sabbath that they had built in the house, and the king's entry without, turned he from the house of the Lord for the king of Assyria. Oh Lord. So Ahaz is basically destroying these monuments inside of the house of the Lord, inside of Jerusalem. He is destroying them for the sake of Tirzah, of Tiglath, this king of Assyria. Now he is forming an alliance with Tiglath, and in forming that alliance, he's sort of converting inside of Jerusalem, inside of the house of the Lord, to please Tiglath. Now I bet he gonna pay. Verse 19. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaz can be found in the book of Chronicles. Verse 20, and this is the last verse of chapter 16. And Ahaz slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Hezekiah, his son, reigned in his stead. And Hezekiah, his son, reigned in his stead. We see in the Bible there is always a price to pay. No matter what, there is always a price to pay for the things that people do that are considered to be an abomination. I guess when we reach to the Chronicles, we'll find out more about all these people, because all these stories are being left half told. All these stories are being left half told, and we are being directed to the Chronicles to get the full story. So stay with me, guys. Stay with me. Let me see who else is in the chat. Okay, Monea is saying hi to Andrea. All right, let us move on, guys. I hope you're following me in your book Bible or your Google Bible, because we are moving on one verse at a time, one chapter at a time, one book at a time. Chapter 17 of the book of 2 Kings. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea the son of Elah to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up a Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, And Hosea became his servant and gave him presents. So really? So you see, the kingdom is falling more and more into the hand of the sort of infidels. Yeah, the kingdom is falling more and more into the hands of the infidels, I'm going to say. Because Ahaz was giving gifts to Tiglath. And he was breaking down the altars in the house so that it would please Tiglath. Now here, his son Hoshea is doing the same thing. Let's read verse chapter 17 again. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elisha, to reign in Samaria over Israel for 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the king of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea. Hold on. Let me fix myself properly here so I can so I can see this thing properly. All right. Verse 3. Against him, that's against Hoshea, came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. So Hoshea surrendered his rule to Shalmaneser. I guess that's what happened. Verse 4 says, and the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea. Hey, so he didn't really want to do it. He do it. Okay, it was part of a conspiracy. Okay, let's read that again. Let's start again from the beginning. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elisha, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the king of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him present. So Hoshea really surrendered himself to Shalmaneser. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messenger to So. S-O sounds like the name of somebody. To So, king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. All right. Let's see what we understand from that. So Hoshea surrendered himself to Shalmaneser to be his servant. But the king, Shalmaneser, thought that was kind of strange. It was kind of strange because he found out that he had sent messengers to the king of Egypt. The king of Egypt at the exact time, his name was S.O. And he had brought no presents. He had brought no presents to the king of Assyria as he had done year after year. Therefore, the king of Assyria shut him up, put him in jail, because he didn't trust him. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it for 3 years. And in the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Abor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of Medes. Boy, the kingdom is so divided now that you don't know who is who. I would believe they don't know who is who anymore. The people are so divided. All of Israel is divided. These kings are coming up, these Syrian kings are coming up, and they are just capturing lands and taking the people hostage. It seems like the entire life of the entire life of an Israelite was just being captured. They're just catch and release. Capture, release, somebody else capture them, release them, somebody else capture them. OMG. Their entire existence was based on being captured by other people, being made to be slaves by other people. Let's move on to verse 7. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel, which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God. And they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchmen to the fenced city. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. For they served idols, whereof the Lord had made unto them. He shall not do this thing. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers. They did not believe in the Lord their God. So the children of Israel had lost faith. They had lost faith. Over time, they see that, number one, their transgressions were punished continuously. They were not forgiven. Despite all these sacrifices that they kept making, they were still always being kept underfoot by others. Did you all notice that? And so the people over time, they had lost faith. They're like, the heck, we have been made slaves and servants over and over to so many people. Our fathers were slaves. We became slaves. I mean, we are serving our God and we are still being punished. So it's like, what's the point? It's like, what's the point? So they are not doing like their fathers used to do. They are not serving their God, the God of their fathers. They are just serving the gods of whoever is in control of them at that time. They're just serving any God. They're just living basically. They're just doing whatever, because them serving and sacrificing their God has not made their life any different from the others around them. So it's just like how we're living right now. You see, people are turning away from tradition, turning away from the things they knew, turning away from the ways of their fathers and doing their own things. Yeah, same thing is happening right now. Look around you and you will see. Verse 16. Let's read verse 15 again. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Verse 18, therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord Jesus. So the Lord was so angry with Israel, he removed them all out of his presence, and only the tribe of Judah was left. But here in verse 19, also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God. So Judah didn't keep the commandments either. The tribe of Judah didn't keep the commandments either. So let's see what's going to happen. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord, and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam which he did. They departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. So the entire kingdom of Israel was banished. The entire kingdom has been banished, as we have read here just now. They had sinned in the sight of the Lord. Hold on here. Uh-oh. What in the world is this? Hold on there, like, give me a second there. What is going on here? Okay, let us continue. Who is here? Speak up. Let me see who is here, gentle people. Let us continue with the reading. So here we see where all of Israel, the kingdom of David has essentially been broken down. All the people have been taken captive, all of them. They have stopped serving the true and living God. They have stopped serving the true and living God. All of them are gone to Assyria. They have been taken captive. They are gone. They are no longer, there's nobody. They are now serving the true and living God. They are all serving Baal, and the kingdom is gone. Verse 19 said also Judah. Verse 18 said, therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them all out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah So the descendants of the other 11 tribes were all gone. So only the tribe of Judah was left. But here in verse 19 it says, also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord, and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria until this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cuthah, and from Ava, and from Amath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria, and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed, and placed in the cities of Samaria, know not the manner of the God of the land? Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land. So I guess the God of Israel doesn't have any humans to use anymore, because the entire tribes of Israel, all of them have been banished. All of them are gone to Assyria and the surrounding areas, serving other gods. Nobody is even paying attention to the kingdom of Israel. The kings of Assyria and surrounding areas have come, taken over, taken Israelites captive. So that kingdom as it is doesn't exist anymore. And the Lord is angry. So he sends lions. Now it's time to use the animals. He sent lions to go eat the people, to go eat the men. The lion ate some of them. Some of them escaped. Verse 27 says, then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom he brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach them the manner of the God of the land. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Which priest was this now? Howbeit, every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places, which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth. The men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Amath made Ashima. And the Avites, that's the people in Ava, made Nibhaz and Tartak. And the men of the Servatites and the Sepharvites. And the Sepharvites burnt their children in the fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim. Okay, so the Sepharvaim place was where the king of Assyria had brought the men from. Remember? Let's go back to verse 23. until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, from Cuthah, from Ava, from Amath, from Sepharvaim, and placed them in cities of Assyria instead of the children of Israel. So when he brought these men, put them in these cities, that means they are now going to be the rulers of these cities. So whatever laws they pass, that's what's going to be. Whatever gods they are serving, they are going to ask the people to serve those gods. He didn't appoint anybody from Israel to rule over anything, because he wanted to make sure that the teachings of Israel pertaining to their true and living God has all disappeared. Nobody is continuing to teach it. And once nobody is continuing to teach something, then eventually, generation after generation, it's going to be forgotten. So let us see what happened here in verse 30. Verse 30 said, and the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Amath made Ashima, and the Avites, that's the people of Ava, they made Nibhaz and Tartak. And the Zepharvites burnt their children in fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim. So they feared the Lord and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared the Lord and served their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. Until this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel, with whom the Lord had made a covenant, and charged them, saying, He shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But the Lord who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and a stretched out arm, him shall he fear, and him shall he worship, and to him shall he sacrifice. And the statutes and the ordinances and the law and the commandment which he wrote for you, he shall observe to do forevermore, and he shall not fear other gods. And the covenant that I have made with you, he shall not forget, neither shall he fear other gods. But the Lord your God he shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit, they did not hearken, but they did after their former manner. So these nations feared the Lord, and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers, so do they until this day. So God says, so how will it be resurrected? That is a great question. How will it be resurrected? I don't know. I don't know how the kingdom of Israel is going to be resurrected, because at this point, where we are finished reading the book of 2Kings chapter 17, at this point, the house of Israel has been dismantled. The ways of the Israelite has been corrupted by them being taken captive and going off to serve other gods, to serve Baal, the false god. And so with that, the entire structure, the religious structure of the Israelites has been jeopardized significantly. There is nobody left. The Lord has cursed them, banished them, turned his back on them, all these things because of what they have done and what he has allowed to be done to them, because of their hard-neckedness, as the Bible calls it, because they have not been as faithful as they were supposed to be. And so this is their punishment. Now, there is nobody in Jerusalem making sacrifices for the Lord. Nobody. Everybody has been taken captive, and the Assyrians, they have taken over, and they are now ruling all the cities round about that used to be ruled by King David. The entire Jerusalem, Israel, all of it has been basically destroyed. Jamaica farmers, good morning, my love. How are you doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good to see you, my dear. Good to see you. What's going on down there in the Trelawney? How is the Trelawney doing this morning, my love? Oops. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're having a great Friday morning, as I am having a great Friday morning here, reading with you all. We are going to read one more chapter for this morning. One more chapter. We are going to be reading chapter 18. Guys, I don't know about you all, but I cannot wait to get to the book of the Chronicles, because the Chronicles will have all the explanations and the completion of these stories that we have read about in the 2 Kings, story of Jeroboam, story of Ahaz, of Azaliah, of Amaziah, all of them. The stories will be told in the Chronicles. Now we are on to chapter 18 of the book of 2 Kings. So come with me, guys, with your book Bible, your Google Bible. Let's read together. Chapter 18. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned for 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Abi, the daughter of Zachariah. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that David his father did. Now in the okay, so Hezekiah is now reigning. Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, is now the king. All right, verse 3. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that David his father did. He removed the high places, and brake the images, and cut down the groves, and brake in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. Moses? Okay, let's read this again. He removed the high places, and brake the images, and cut down the groves, and brake in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. After me never know that Moses make one brazen serpent. Do you all remember us reading anything like that? We could have, but I just don't remember Moses having made a brazen serpent. For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nehushtan. Really? Hold on the people, because I like to look up things right away. If I don't look it up right away, something else might come in the way. Hold on. Let me see. Google might be able to help me. Google might be able to help me. Let's see, because the Bible might be able to tell me where to, Google might be able to tell me where to find it. The Lord said to Moses, make a snake. Oh yeah, I remember that now. The Lord said to Moses, make a snake and put it on a pole. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live. So Moses made a bronze snake and put it up on a pole. Then when anyone was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake, he lived. And this was found in Numbers chapter 21. I'm going right back around there to Numbers. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers chapter 21. Numbers chapter 21. Let me see where Moses met that snake. Where's my other pencil? Another pencil disappeared, not there. So, chapter 21. And when King Herod, the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, he didn't give me a verse so I can see. Yes, and this is Numbers chapter 21 and verse 8. And the Lord said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looks upon it, he shall live. And Moses made the serpent of brass and put it upon a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. Okay, so Moses did in fact make a snake of brass. So that's the snake they are talking about. All right, so now we are on the same page. So let's move right along. Hezekiah is now king. Let's see what Hezekiah is doing. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that David his father did. He removed the high places and brake the images and cut down the groves and brake in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nehushtan. So the children of Israel had started to worship the snake. This is why we still use that serpent for healthcare today. Hey, you see how I say that everything has a biblical foundation. Every single thing that we experience, every law, just about everything. If you pay attention, if you pay attention, if you read, you will notice. Remember a few days ago when we read about how Elisha and Elijah, they both got the children back to life. Elijah had taken the little boy up in the chamber and he laid himself out on the little boy. And he did CPR, the little boy came back to life. Remember how Elisha did that for the Shunammite woman's son and bring him back to life? Now we see here this serpent. Moses made this brass serpent to serve as healing for the people who were bitten by snakes. I guess walking through the wilderness and all those things, of course, yes, there's going to be snakes. A lot of people are going to get snake bites. They're sleeping in tents, they're sleeping in the outdoors. Sure. So maybe a lot of people out there were dying from the snake bites. And so Moses had to come up with a way for so many people to not die by snake bites. So he made this snake out of brass. And whenever someone was bitten, all they had to do was look at the snake, and then they were better. Now, they had called the snake Nehushtan, and they were bowing down to the snake. It wasn't for them to bow down to. It was for them. It wasn't for them to bow down to. It was to be used just for what it was to be used for. When a snake bites you, you look at it and you get better. But now the people started to worship it. I know the symbol. What they call it? Amethyst. What, I forget what they call it. Yeah, but it is on the symbol for healthcare. It's on the healthcare symbol. Verse 5 said, he trusted in the Lord God of Israel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Judah, nor any that were before him. Wow. Hezekiah, he said there was none like him after him and none like him before him. So he must have been a true follower of the God of Israel. For he clave to the Lord and departed not from following him, but kept his commandments, which the Lord commanded Moses. And the Lord was with him, and he prospered whithersoever he went forth. And he rebelled against the king of Assyria, and served him not. He smote the Philistines, even unto Gaza, and the borders thereof, from the tower of the watchmen to the fenced city. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, which was the 7th year of Hoshea son of Elah, king of Israel, that Shalmaneser king of Assyria came up against Samaria and besieged it. Another war again, another land grab. And at the end of 3 years, they took it, even in the 6th year of Hezekiah, that is the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Israel. Samaria was taken. And the king of Assyria did carry away Israel into Assyria, and put them in Alah, and in Abor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord their God, but transgressed his covenant, and all that Moses the servant of the Lord commanded, and would not hear them, nor do them. Verse 14. And Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent to the king of Assyria to Lachish, saying, I have offended. Return from me. That which thou puttest on me with will I bear. And the king of Assyria appointed unto Hezekiah, king of Judah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. Netta, how are you doing? Netta is back. Oh, Netta is still here. Oh, how are you doing, Netta? Verse 15. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of the Lord, and the treasures in the king's house. Really? There was anything left? Oh. Let's read verse 14 again. And Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent to the king of Assyria, to Lachish, saying, I have offended. Return from me. That which thou puttest on me will I bear. And the king of Assyria appointed unto Hezekiah, king of Judah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of the Lord and in the treasures of the king's house. Oh my gosh. So Hezekiah was asking if he had offended him. He wanted to make up for it. And the king asked for 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. And Hezekiah gave him everything, all the silver that was found in the house of the Lord and the treasures of the king's house. OMG. He gave him everything. And at that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of the Lord. Oh my. He wanted so badly to pay the king of Assyria so that the king wouldn't come after him, that he cut off the gold of the temple. Remember when Solomon was building that temple? All the gold the people had brought, lots of gold and silver and brass and everything that he used to build the temple. Now Hezekiah, at that time, Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of the Lord and from the pillars which Hezekiah, king of Judah, had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria sent Tartan and Rabsaris and Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah with a great host against Jerusalem. So even after he gave him all this gold and silver, he still sent up people against him in Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem. And when they were come, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fuller's field. And when they had called to the king, there came out to them Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joha, the son of Asaph, the recorder, and Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah. Thus said the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein thou trustest? Thou sayest, but they are by vain words. I have counsel and strength for the war. Now on whom dost thou trust, that thou rebellest against me? Now behold, thou trustest upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt, on which if a man lean, it will go into his hand, and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt unto all that trust on him. But if he say unto me, We trust in the Lord our God, is not that he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah hath taken away, and hath said to Judah and Jerusalem, He shall worship before this altar in Jerusalem? Now therefore, I pray thee, give pledges to my lord the king of Assyria, and I will deliver thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them. So here, the king of Assyria has sent these men up to Jerusalem to go start war with Hezekiah. Hezekiah has basically started to re-establish the house of his fathers, meaning he's a descendant of David. He's trying to re-establish the house of David, Jerusalem. He's trying to re-establish it to get people to come back and start serving the true and living God again. But he has great opposition from the Assyrians, because now remember, they have taken over the entire place. They are ruling the entire geographical area. So here comes Hezekiah trying to reestablish this kingdom, and they are going to antagonize the daylight out of him. So here they come. They call out to him, and his servants went out to answer to them. And they're saying, who you gonna call on? You're gonna call on your God, or are you gonna just trust the God of Assyria? The king has sent us. So what you gonna do? If you call on your God and he does something for you, we're gonna give you 200 horses. Now they're trying to bribe them. Let's see what happens in verse 24. How then wilt thou turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? Am I now come up without the Lord against this place to destroy it? The Lord said to me, go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and Shebna, and Joah, unto Rabshakeh, speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language. So Rabshakeh, he had come to follow Hezekiah. He had come to follow Hezekiah. And because the Syrians had taken over the place, now they were even speaking the Syrian language. So now they are asking Rabshakeh to speak to these Assyrians who has come up. You talk to them in their language so they can understand exactly what's going on. Speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it. And talk not with us in the Jews' language, in the ears of the people that are on the wall. Okay, so they are telling him to speak in the Syrian language. They will understand it, and so will these people who have come for war. They will understand it. So it's not like they are over there speaking in Syrian language and we are over here speaking in Jerusalem language. Speak to them in Syrian language, because we do understand them. We do understand the Syrian language as well. Verse 27. But Rabshakeh said unto them, Hath my master sent me to thy master and to thee to speak these words? Hath he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall, that they may eat their own dung, that they may eat their own poop, and drink their own piss with you? Good Lord. If you ever say the word piss these days, people say, can't you say urinate? Can't you say urine? The Bible say pisseth, that's urinating, and the Bible say piss, that's urine. You see how back then the word, not to divert you, but you see how back then the word piss was the formal way of saying urine. Modern day language has now called it urine and have vanquished the word piss to one of those words that is uncouth, one of those words that shouldn't be written formally. But here in the Bible, the word piss is written formally. Verse 27. But Rabshakeh said unto them, Hath my master sent me to thy master and to thee to speak these words? Hath he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall, that they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language, and spake, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus said the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord, saying, The Lord will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus said saith the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me. And then eat ye every man of his own vine, and every one his own fig tree, and drink ye every one of the waters of his cistern, until I came and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of oil, olive, and of honey, that he may live and not die. And hearken not unto Hezekiah, when he persuadeth you, saying, the Lord will deliver us. Hath any of the gods of the nations delivered at all this land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath, and of Arpad, and of Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Ivah? Have they delivered Samaria out of my hand? Who are they among all the gods of the countries that have delivered their country out of my hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? But the people held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was saying, answer him not. So here Rabshakeh is saying, which God is going to deliver you? But Hezekiah told the people, don't answer him, don't pay him no mind. Nobody should answer him. Then came Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joha the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. So they told him what Rabshakeh had declared on the balcony there when they had gone out to go see the people from Assyria who had been sent by the king. When we come back tomorrow in chapter 19, we will hear what instructions Hezekiah gave his people, and what become of that war. It seemed like that the Assyrians had come to start, because it is clear that they do not want to see the kingdom of David reestablished. They are going to do everything to stop it. And it seems to me like Hezekiah is very determined to reestablish the kingdom of David. He is determined to reestablish it. One problem, though, I think he's going to run into is finding loyal assistants, loyal people. Because remember now, the Assyrians have taken over the entire area for so long. They have indoctrinated all these people. So it's hard for these people to turn their backs on the Assyrians. And because now the Assyrians are in the majority, it is going to be very hard for these people to just get up and say, all right, I am now going to follow Hezekiah, because Hezekiah is reestablishing the kingdom of my fathers. So I'm just going to follow him and abandon the most recent teachings of the Assyrians. It is hard for somebody to just do that, knowing what the consequences could be. And at this time too, they're going to have to rely on either information that's passed down from through their generations, or to go read the writings of the elders to say what had happened and see which direction. It's almost like politics. You know, there are people who come up, I can use Jamaican politics. There are people who are supporters of the JLP. And it's not because of any recent information or any valid proof that they have that the JLP would be a better party, but it is the party that their foreparents have been supporting. Their grandmother, their great grandmother, their parents were supporting that party, and so they continue to. But now they want to determine whether or not this is the party for me, whether or not the views that I am developing for myself right now are in alignment with this party's values. And if they are not, I want to also investigate the other party and see where my views align. So these people are very skeptical in just jumping and joining Hezekiah, knowing that they could have serious consequences to pay for that. But remember, God does not need a majority to win. Well, yes, I remember that. He says he doesn't need a majority. He does not need a majority to win. I remember that. So I'm waiting to see when we start reading chapter 19 tomorrow, what is going to happen of this kingdom that Hezekiah has established. I don't want to read ahead of you all. I don't want to read ahead and then not be able to. And then tomorrow when I come to read, I already have the information, because we are just reading this shotgun. We are no theologians. We don't endorse any particular religion, any particular denomination. We are just reading. And as we read along, and it pops into us to go look for something on Google, a verification, we will look for it on Google and we will move right along. Let me see what God says. Okay, yeah. I remember when, for those of you who have been here, those of you who have read your Bible before, when Jonathan had gone up to go fight with the Philistines, and his servant was saying, Jonathan, how you wanna go fight these 20 big men with all these swords and everything? Jonathan said, well, it's not a majority. It's whether or not God is with you. So I could be one person, but God is with me and I will win. And he did win. He did slay those 20 people. And his analogy for it was that it's whether or not God is with you. It's not the quantity of the warriors on your side. It is the quality of the person who is leading the fight. So if God is leading your fight, it don't matter how many people you have on your side. You will win. That's what it says. That was the conviction of Jonathan. And here too, it's probably going to be the conviction of Hezekiah. This reading this morning, my friends, was rather interesting. There is a lot of it that is sending us to the Chronicles, which means that when we start reading the Chronicles, we are going to have to make several references coming back. We are going to have to make several references coming back to the kings, so that we can refresh our memory about the people, who they were, and so forth, so that we keep up and we train our brain, to know who is who and who was who. In this reading this morning, we saw where the sins of Jeroboam continue to follow his generations. Continue, because God has been so angry at Jeroboam for the sin that he committed. Remember, Jeroboam was the first one to split Israel. He was the first one, because remember, Solomon reigned over all those places, Syria, Damascus, Samaria, all those places Solomon ruled over. And Solomon saw no good in Jeroboam from the beginning. And that's why Solomon had banished him and he went down to Egypt. And then I wondered if the Lord knew that this was what Jeroboam was going to do, that Jeroboam was going to destroy the kingdom and separate and cause a division in the kingdom of David, a division that would lead to its destruction. Why did he allow it to happen? Like, why did he allow it to happen? Because remember, the prophet had prophesied and told Jeroboam that he was going to be king over Israel. And he got excited. He got excited. And he was, when he came back from Egypt to Jerusalem, he started having all these people follow him, and the masses left Jerusalem and went to follow him. And all that, for that sin, for him having caused the division of Israel, and every other sin that he did that we will find out about in the book of the Chronicles, everybody who inherited his throne was wicked. And they continued to be punished generation after generation. And I don't think the punishment for Jeroboam's house is finished. I believe as we continue to read, we are going to see where the kings coming up out in Assyria and Damascus, all of those areas and the surrounding areas are going to be punished for the sins of Jeroboam. So by right, with this punishment, when you look at this punishment that is continuing generation after generation after generation, and then at the same time, the Bible says, according to Moses' law, you shouldn't punish the children for the sins of the father. But in Jeroboam's case, he committed the great sin against Israel by starting the dividing that led to the destruction. But his children are being punished generation after generation after generation. So I don't know, maybe somewhere in the Bible there will be an explanation for it as to why those two things are happening in the Bible, when the Bible clearly states that the latter should not happen based on the law of Moses. But we are going to continue reading. It is Friday. I'm going to get myself together, get myself in order. I got work tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I got work tonight. Oh my. I got work tonight. So I might see you all again later, but by say 1 o'clock, I'm going to take me my nap. And so we are not going to see each other this evening unless I wake up early enough to go to work. But that is going to be the end of the reading for this morning. I hope you all enjoyed the reading as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Now, hold on there. Hold on there, people. Let me check this thing out here. Hold on, there's something here that I want to. Hold on there, people. Don't move. Don't move. Don't you go anywhere. Let me look for something right here. I'm looking for something for us. Oh my word. Well, I'm trying to find something that I have here, but I can't find it. But I cannot find it, people. Hold on a second there, people. Don't move. Don't move. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, here we go. There we go, guys. So now we are going to be listening to the to a summary. I found this summary online of the book of First and Second Kings, and I'm going to be playing it. Let me play it so we can all listen to it.
Although they're two separate books in our Bibles, they were originally written as one book telling a unified story that continues on from the book of Samuel that came before it. So David has unified the tribes of Israel into a kingdom, and God promised that from his line would come a messianic king who would establish God's kingdom over the nations and fulfill the promises made to Abraham. So the book of Kings tells the story of the long line of kings that came after David, and none of them lived up to that promise. In fact, they run the nation of Israel right into the ground. The book is designed to have 5 main movements. The story begins and ends focus on Jerusalem, first with Solomon's reign and the construction of the temple, and then in this last section ending with Jerusalem's destruction and Israel's exile to Babylon. And the story leading up to this tragedy is what makes up the center 3 sections, which explain how Israel split into 2 rival kingdoms, how God tried to prevent the corruption of Israel by sending the prophets, and how exile became the unavoidable consequence of Israel's sin. The book opens with 2 chapters about the kingdom passing from the aging David to his son Solomon. And David's final words to Solomon, they're very similar to those of Moses and Joshua and Samuel to the people. It's a call to remain faithful to the commands of the covenant and to give allegiance to the God of Israel alone. But David's words ring somewhat hollow here because David and Solomon then go on to conspire how they're going to consolidate this new kingdom through a whole series of political assassinations. It's not off to a great start. Solomon's brightest moment comes when he asks God for wisdom to lead Israel, and he even completes David's dream to make a temple for the God of Israel. Here the story actually stops and describes the design of this temple in detail, just like the tabernacle design in the Torah. There's all these gold and jewels and depictions of angels and fruit trees. It's all symbolism echoing back to the Garden of Eden. It's the place where heaven and earth meet, where God's presence dwells with his people. But no sooner does Solomon finish the temple that he makes some really horrible choices and the kingdom falls apart. He starts marrying the daughters of other kings, hundreds of them, for political alliances. And then he adopts their gods and introduces the worship of those gods into Israel. Solomon then accumulates huge amounts of wealth. He builds a huge army. He even institutes slave labor for all of his building projects. Now, if you go back to the Torah and look at God's guidelines for Israel's kings in Deuteronomy 17, Solomon is breaking every one. So by the time that he dies, Solomon resembles Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, more than he does his father David. The next section of the book opens with Solomon's son, Rehoboam, acting just like his father. It's a very sad story of greed and lust for power. He tries to increase taxes for slave labor. And under the leadership of Jeroboam, the northern tribes reject this, they rebel and secede, and form their own rival kingdom. And so now in the story, you have the southern kingdom, Judah, centered in Jerusalem with kings from the line of David, and now this new northern kingdom called Israel, whose capital will be Samaria eventually. Jeroboam also goes on to build 2 new temples to compete with Solomon's temple in the south. He puts a golden calf in each one to represent the God of Israel. The connection to Exodus 32 and the golden calf is all quite explicit. From this point on, the story goes back and forth from north to south, tracing the fate of both kingdoms. Each one had about 20 successive kings, and as the author introduces each king, he evaluates their reign by a few criteria. Did they worship the God of Israel alone, or did they promote the worship of other gods? Did they deal with idolatry among the people? And did they remain faithful to the covenant like David, or do they become corrupt and unjust? And according to these criteria, the author finds no good kings in northern Israel, 0 for 20. And then in southern Judah, only 8 out of 20 get a positive rating. which connects to another huge purpose in this book, and that's to introduce the role of the prophets, key figures in Israel's history. So in the Bible, prophets were not fortune tellers. Rather, they spoke on behalf of the God of Israel, and they played the role of covenant watchdogs, which means they called out idolatry and injustice among the kings and the people. They were constantly reminding Israel of their calling to be a light to the nations, that they should obey the commands of the Torah, and so the prophets challenged Israel to repent and follow their God. In these center sections for each king, God then raises up prophets to hold them accountable. The most prominent prophets are the northern ones, Elijah and his disciple Elisha, right here in the center of the book. Elijah was a wild man of a prophet living out in the desert, and his arch nemesis was the northern king Ahab and his Canaanite wife Jezebel. Together, these two had instituted the worship of the Canaanite god Baal over Israel. And so in a famous story, Elijah challenged 450 prophets of Baal to a contest to see which god was real. So they both built altars and prayed to their gods, but only the God of Israel answers with fire. After this, Ahab uses his royal power to murder an Israelite farmer and then steal his family's vineyard. And Elijah again confronts Ahab's injustice, and he announces the downfall of his house. Elijah eventually passes the mantle of his prophetic leadership to a young disciple named Elisha, who asks for 2 times the authority of Elijah. And what's fascinating here is how the author, he's recounted 7 miraculous feats for Elijah, and then he offers stories of 14 acts of power from Elisha. Both prophets were clearly remarkable men, and they played the same role, confronting Israel's kings for idolatry and injustice. And ultimately, they were unsuccessful in turning Israel back from apostasy. In the next section, the northern kingdom is rocked by a bloody revolution started by a king named Jehu, who destroys Ahab's family. And although Jehu was at first commissioned by God, his violence just gets out of control, and it creates the spiral of political assassinations and rebellions from which Israel never recovered. Coup follows coup after Jehu, and each king follows other gods, allows horrible injustice. It all leads up to 2 Kings chapter 17. The big bad empire of Assyria swoops down and takes out the northern kingdom altogether. In the capital city of Samaria, it's conquered, and the Israelites are exiled and scattered throughout the ancient world. Now, chapter 17 is key. The author stops the story and offers this prophetic reflection on what's just happened. He blames the downfall of the northern kingdom on the idolatry and covenant unfaithfulness of Israel and its kings. And so, God has allowed them to face the consequences of their decisions. The final movement of the book tells the story of the lone southern kingdom. And here we meet some very heroic kings, like Hezekiah, who trusts God when the armies of Assyria come knocking on Jerusalem's door, or Josiah, who discovers this lost scroll of the Torah in the temple. So he starts reading it, he's convicted, and he institutes religious reforms to remove idolatry and Canaanite influences from the land. But Judah is just too far gone. The king, right in between these two, Manasseh, he's the worst by far. So he not only introduces the worship of idol statues into the Jerusalem temple, he also institutes child sacrifice. And so God sends prophets to say, the time is up. Israel has reached the point of no return. The final chapters tell the story of the Babylonian Empire coming to invade Jerusalem, destroy the temple, and carry the people and the royal line of David off into exile. And so the story ends leaving us wondering, is God done with Israel? Is he done with the line of David? Well, the final paragraph zooms about 40 years forward into the exile, and it tells a very odd story. It's about Jehoiakim, a descendant from David, who would have been king if he was back in Jerusalem. And the king of Babylon releases him from prison and invites him to eat at the royal table for the rest of his life, and the book ends. So it's not much, but it's a story that gives a glimmer of hope that God has not abandoned the line of David. So the question now is, how is God going to fulfill his promises to Abraham, to David? How is he going to bless the nations and bring the Messianic kingdom? And to answer those questions, you have to read on into the wisdom and the prophetic books. But for now, that's the book of Kings.
All right. So that is a little summary there of the book of Kings, as that is a summary there of the book of Kings from the Bible prophet. we are going to be continuing the reading of the book tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we will continue onto chapter 19. So come along, join me. Tomorrow morning we are going to start late, just for those of you who are new here who don't know how this works. So for tomorrow morning, because I'm coming off of work around 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere around there, I'm going to be a little late. So we will start the reading at around, well, whenever time I get home. That's when we will do the reading. We will do it together. Sometimes I read it when I'm working on the night shift. I would pre-record it and then have it play tomorrow. But I like when I'm on the live and I can chat and we can be on the live together. So I don't want to pre-record it. I will come on here and we will chat and interject with a little shenanigan here and there, and we will read it together. All right, fair enough. So come back here tomorrow morning at maybe a little bit before now, when we will be continuing the reading of the book of 2Kings. When we come back tomorrow, we will move on to chapter 19. All right. Until then, my friends, I hope you all have yourselves a great and productive Friday, and I will see you all in the morning. Now have yourselves a great day, everybody.